How is everybody doing today? And in this video, we're going to do what we always do when it comes to a brand new character coming out, and that is going to be the things you should consider before these characters come out. And today's character, of course, is going to be Aglaea. Now, Aglaea, let me move my camera over here. Aglaea is going to be our first remembrance character with her memorable sprite, the Garment Maker, of course. And I've already made a video talking about her in terms of a showcase with using her, and holy crap, does she take a lot of turns, and she also does a lot of damage as well. Now, we're going to talk about Aglaea. We're going to talk about all the characters that we currently have in game right now as a summon. And we're also going to talk about all the characters that she's going to have as well during her summon period as well. With us having 3 reruns on both sides and a character, there is so many characters to talk about in terms of priority of which characters you're going to be looking for. Aglaea specifically does have one quality to her that, of course, is a very exciting thing, is that, yes, she is our first remembrance character. Besides, of course, Trailblazer himself, or herself, that is going to be given to free for everybody. We also have characters coming in the future, so yes, this video is going to be a lot to talk about when it comes to all the characters that we currently have in the game. But going along with the characters currently in game, and then we'll talk about Aglaea and then all the other reruns associated. We currently have Herta, and then we have Feixiao, Lingsha, and Jade. Now, first of all, talking about Herta. Herta is our erudition emanator. She is a very strong character at the current moment. Although a lot of the content right now realistically does suit to her playstyle, I do think Herta is by far going to be one of the most general used units in the game, just because she's just an overall really good farming unit. She does a lot of AoE. Not only that, she excels in content that allows you to hit multiple targets, so Pure Fiction, easy. Apocalypse the Shadow kind of goes in the same way, and so does MOC. The case that a lot of people make is that, what if Herta goes against a single target boss and there's no ads? Not in all of Star Wars history has that ever happened. Literally, I don't remember one time where there's been a boss that doesn't summon allies, that doesn't summon some type of mechanic or entities or something that doesn't get multiplied over time or something like that. You have the Swarm Bug, you have the Serious Eye, if I remember the name right. You have every single type of boss. You got Aglaea that drops the ice spears. There's just so many different characters or bosses in this game that do spawn in ads or already have ads with them, that the likelihood of there being a single target only boss is not very, reliant when it comes to Herta's value. Of course, she would struggle in single target situations. There's just not many single target situations to begin with. A lot of the weeklies have a lot of AoE. A lot of the bosses that spawn in MOC have a lot of AoE. Some of the bosses themselves are literally 3 targets. So yeah, Herta's gonna be fine. She's gonna be fine for a very, very long time with how strong she is. And realistically, if you need a general DPS that doesn't require a lot of other characters, Herta definitely is going to be it. Because even for me right now, although I use some premium units, I do have a Herta team that literally just uses regular Herta because I don't have Jade. And this team has been able to get me through a lot already. I've been using her in MOC. I've been using her inside the Pure Fiction. I've used her inside the Sim Universe. I've used her in everything. Literally, this is one of the best teams right now to run through that has a good auto. Because you have Robin, Herta, and Lingsha. It's just a really good team. So you don't necessarily need a lot of moving parts for Herta's teams, and you can even go even more free to play. There's Remembrance MC as well that boost up Herta's performance even more. Same thing goes for any other type of sustain as well that could help out with hitting enemies. Same thing, instead of Lingsha, you can add Aventurine if you really wanted to. To be honest, there's so many different characters that work well with the Herta that is definitely worth getting her if you just want a really good general DPS, and B, want one that doesn't require a bunch of other units to work. So this Herta is very, very good overall. Talking about the other 3 reruns, let's go ahead and start with Jade. Jade, even to this day, even with the Herta's release, I do think she still can be a skip. For those that pulled her, that's good. For people that pulled her just for the Herta, hey, you have a better Herta team than me. That's all good. 100%. If you got her already, that's nice. Have fun with Jade. You can definitely make some crazy things happen in Pure Fiction and any of these other modes with giving the depth collector to someone like Herta or Lingsha or anyone else that's doing a bunch of AoE on that team. But realistically, looking at the Herta's kit, how she works, all the cogs, I guess you say, of her kit, you don't necessarily need Jade. I'm working really fine and clearing content really quickly with the regular Herta. There's people that are using battery Serval as well to work with the Herta in replacement of not having Jade. And I just think Jade, although finally has her teammate, isn't a needed character like a lot of these other characters in the game need to have, where you need to have HMC or you need to have a Fugue for Firefly now. Jade would need to have Herta to be able to perform at her best performance. Right now, realistically, you don't need Herta for Jade. So unless you really wanted Jade or you really want the best team for the Herta, then you would go for Jade. Other than that, there's not really much use for her. I think the Herta is really the only character that you would pull Jade for if you were to pull Jade. She's god tier in Pure Fiction, which is really nice for those that are struggling with Pure Fiction. You can have a really good MOC Pure Fiction Apocalypse Shadow farming team with Jade, but realistically not that needed. Feixiao and Lingsha, I think out of the two, realistically, I think Lingsha takes the cake on this one. And it's actually insane the amount of value Lingsha has gotten over time with her release, and not a lot of people liking her, not a lot of people thinking she was necessary. And to think that Lingsha is probably part of the most teams right now with how valuable she is as a healer, as a follow-up attack character. She helps out characters like Feixiao with helping with the follow-up attacks. She helps out with super break or break teams with being able to give that damage boost to break, and also helping out with the fire toughness, especially if you're using someone like Firefly who's adding fire to everybody. So now her skill is doing a bunch of toughness damage, her follow-up is doing a bunch of toughness damage, her ult does a lot of toughness damage plus the guaranteed follow-up after, and then just the follow-up team as well, being able to help out Feixiao again. She's just a really good overall general support or general sustain that can be put on a bunch of different teams. And then the amount of times she does follow up, whenever you have that emergency or panic heal, a skill, an ult, Fuyin heals the whole team and also cleanses the whole team. There's just so many things that you get off of this sustain that if you don't have a 5-star sustain, I do think Lingsha is 100% worth picking up if you are in the realm of shopping around for a sustain, of course. She is just by far one of the strongest sustains in the game and can be put on so many different teams that she is definitely worth it. Feixiao, I wouldn't recommend Feixiao, although she has a lot of free-to-play counterparts that you can use, like March 8th or the Hunt March 7th, which is a really good character to have. Same thing with Topaz, same thing with Aventurine, same thing with Robin. I do think if you are going for Feixiao, I would hope you already have the other parts of her team, because getting Feixiao, you don't want to rock Feixiao and not have anybody else for that team. You don't want to have just March 7th and then Feixiao, and then you don't have Robin, you don't have Aventurine, you don't have Lingsha, and it's just going to take a really long time to give Feixiao her ultimate, which is the bulk of her damage for the most part. And you really want to make sure that you're spamming that as much as possible to be able to allow Feixiao to do the damage that she does, which realistically, if you don't have all those moving parts, it is going to be a little hard to do. So I do think, although Feixiao is very strong, I do think it's going to stay here for quite some time, as a lot of the emulators are the primary target for this banner would definitely be Lingsha. Now going on to Aglaea specifically, as I said before, Aglaea is a really good Remembrance character, and her first Remembrance character, which can be a little exciting. She gets stronger as the time goes by in the battle because she keeps increasing her speed, getting to the point where she takes multiple turns before the enemy do, which is really cool. But I do think as a Remembrance character, it is going to be a little hard to go against the next few ones, just because as we all know, Aglaea is our first, and we now know that Casterus is going to be coming out as a Remembrance character as well, because she will have her dragon, and I'm pretty sure she's going to be the big time Remembrance character, coinciding or going alongside the anniversary of Star Rail. And as you may know, the character's coming out on the anniversary, that character might effing be busted. I'm not gonna lie to you. So as a Remembrance character period, Aglaea might suffer against Casterus. But if you just want a fun, strong character, Aglaea is definitely worth it as a DPS. Although there are some caveats. One, you really want Sunday, because being able to stack up all that she has, being able to give a lot of damage to the summon and her, you really want Sunday if you don't have Sunday already. She's not as standalone as someone like the Herta, sadly. The Herta is a lot better when it comes to picking up a unit, and that's all you need. For someone like Aglaea, you really want someone like Sunday, and you also really want someone like Hoho, because Hoho, she's able to give the energy, which allows you to keep up your garment maker so that you don't have to restack the passive, which is a very important thing for Aglaea. So Aglaea is a little bit more of a, you need these characters to make her fulfill her full potential, and with fulfilling her full potential, she's very, very strong. Other than that, realistically, that's it for Aglaea. She's gonna be our first remembrance. Does take a couple of characters like Sunday, Hoho to be able to realize her full potential, but other than that, that's pretty much it for Aglaea. I do expect Castorus to take up that spot as the best remembrance character, but of course it won't be in the same element as someone like Castorus. I'm pretty sure Castorus is not going to be lightning, so there's a lot to look around when it comes to Aglaea and what she's able to provide. I do think realistically she acts more as a general DPS than a niche one, I guess you could say. She doesn't fulfill anything really crazy. She doesn't add something insane besides the memo sprite itself being able to, I guess, tank some damage, which is really nice. Adds a little bit more sustainability with you being able to also keep its HP up. But other than that, there's nothing really crazy about Aglaea versus someone like the Herta. And then talking about the other banners that we'll be looking at inside the reruns, we are looking at a Silver Wolf Robin Boohill. Silver Wolf, I'm sorry, you're my profile mascot, one of my favorite characters in the game, without a doubt. Definitely not pulling Silver Wolf at this point in the game. Either everybody in this game implants their own weakness just cause, or everybody in this game can ignore it. So at this point, there's no real reason to rock Silver Wolf anymore. She just doesn't take a valuable spot for any of these teams. She has really good debuffs, like the 40% defense down from her ultimate, or the penetration that you get from her skill, or any of the other debuffs that come from Silver Wolf herself. But realistically, as a support unit or a debuffer unit, it's a lot less potent than a lot of these other characters that are giving way more value for a lot less. So sadly, Silver Wolf isn't going to get much out of this. Boohill, you can pull for Boohill. He is, of course, part of the break niche. If you don't have any characters from it, I would slightly advise not to, just because I feel like a character like Rappa performs a little bit better, or a little bit more general. Firefly, although some people don't like Firefly to be pulled on, I do think Firefly is a little bit easier to use. I think that's also a very important aspect to talk about. Boohill's still a really strong character overall, but in all honesty, if you're pulling for any rerun at this point in time when Aglaea, Lingsha, and Herta are here, it would be Robin. Robin is still a character that is ageless. She's still a character that's the best character in the game right now, alongside Ruame to be a S+++ tier stunner, or not stunner, support. So for the most part, if you're gonna pull for anyone, it is definitely Robin. And if you have everybody here, you don't want Aglaea or Herta, go ahead and pick up that Robin E1, because that buffs everybody in the game. It's a really good Eidolon overall. And then of course we got Trivia and My Day at the end. Trivia and My Day, for as much as we know realistically, they are going to be very interesting, because Tribi will be our Harmony character, and we know Harmony characters, that is another team that's getting boosted up by a crazy amount, or it's just another you must have support at this point, and we'll have to see how that's going to pan out. And My Day, I think My Day has the toughest competition. He's going to be a Destruction Imaginary unit, which, going against all these Emanators, going against all these teams that are already built up, like Follow Up, like Debuff with Acheron, Break as well, they have a lot of super niche characters that are dedicated to that team, and that team specifically. And for whatever My Day does, we know how hyper carry is right now as a team. They're not the strongest at the moment. Will Tribi change that? Maybe. Is My Day gonna have some crackdown multipliers where it doesn't even matter? It's a possibility, but realistically, My Day isn't a concern, but Tribi will definitely be, because we have Robin, Lingsha, Herta, Aglaea, and then Tribi. So yeah, there's a lot of really good characters around. But other than that, that's all the characters that are around Aglaea. Basically gave you a rundown of what everybody is and where everybody is at the current moment. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the next one. Peace.